Hey everybody, welcome to Gaming Golf. We are back in time for the Ryder Cup. Super excited about this week. Ryder Cup starting on Friday. We're going to try to wrap our brains around the gaming aspect of the Ryder Cup. Plenty of betting angles. The DFS angles are less obvious, but we'll be working on that as well. And hey, I'm just happy to be talking golf with you guys. How you doing?
Great. En route as we speak. So happy to check in from the airport on my way to the event, and good to see you guys. It's been a while. Excited to do this.
Good to see you. I'm jealous that you're the one en route and not me, but looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah, welcome back to getting cover an event live in person, and what a better event too. I mean, how awesome is that? Great venue, and obviously super amount of drama. It'll be super narrative street. It's going to be great.
Yeah, drama off the course, at least until we get started. But then, on the course, it's just this event always delivers. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun to be. It's gonna be my personal first time back at a sporting event with a big crowd. Since the pandemic. So it's been fun to see football games on TV. It just feels like crowds are more energized than ever before. I'm not sure if it's something they're doing in the production truck of like turning up the volume of fan noise and down the volume of the mics of broadcasters. It just feels like fans are more into sports now than they ever have been. And so I'm really excited to see golf's really the closest thing golf has to a college football game type of crowd. So I'm ready. It's gonna be great.
I think people are just pretty ramped up. I think a year off and you see some of these football stadiums, I think people are just really excited.
Absolutely. Let's jump right into it here though, guys. Let's talk about this. I thought we'd approach it first by just talking about the player pool. There's very limited. There's 24 golfers, right? I mean, I want to talk about the selection process first of all, because on the U.S. there were a lot of optional picks, and obviously when you have that, it's going to raise some level of controversy. Were you guys happy with the captain selections for the U.S. team?
I think so. I kind of wanted to see Kevin Na make this team. I thought he was coming in good form, and he would just bring something different to the table in terms of a player who's really like short game dependent as opposed to another power player. But I thought obviously the bold move was leaving Patrick Reed off the team, which, you make a case for him. You can make a case against him. I ultimately thought Stricker would probably pick him. So I was surprised in the end that Reed was not on the team. But given the fact that he was in the hospital recently with pneumonia and, there's different dynamics, I think, with Reed in that locker room that probably played a role, I would guess. You can see the case why Reed's not on the team. But to me, that was the biggest surprise on the U.S. team.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard to begrudge many of the picks. I mean, 3 of them were slam dunks, obvious. So it was really only 3 picks. I would have gone probably Kevin Kisner over Harris English, but I get it. English was playing really well. I just think that Kisner, you read all those polls, and he's like the most liked guy. When people talk about who you want to play with, he's number 1 every single year. And he's a great putter. Like, you give me a great putter, a huge team chemistry guy. I think his pick 12, that would have been my pick. A little off the map, but I think it's who I would have gone with to fill out the final spot in the roster. I'm
amazed that you are using narrative logic to support this here. I had Kevin Kisner on my crappy season-long team. He won a tournament, so I can't complain too much.
I was going to say, he was your one win. Let's not rip him too much.
Yeah, for 6 months, I was like, oh, I got to bench this guy. He's terrible. And then he wins.
More wins than DJ in your team.
Yeah, pipe down. But... at the same time, and then, he has a chance to kind of qualify for the final, and, he came up so small. He was like second to last in the field, or even, in the penultimate event. I don't know. I mean, I'm fine with him not making the team. I don't think he earned it there. Now,
would you have gone Reed over English?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
And part because, I mean, there's so much history with Reed playing well in the Ryder Cup. I get it, but he hasn't been playing well lately at all. And I think recent form is the single most important thing you need to be paying attention to. And English earned that spot. English has played well for a long time. The only thing you could say is he wilted under pressure a little bit on that round, and when he, on that final 9.
I very much think he earned it too. I just probably would have gone a little bit different, but I do not argue with the fact that he fully earned that spot.
Yeah, it's not like he was winning joke tournaments either. He's playing great in big tournaments. Played well in the U.S. Open, closed well in the U.S. Open. I think that's important too. So I'm okay with that. How about on the
Reed was not great in the last Ryder Cup.
No,
and he was not great in the last President's Cup. I mean, yes, he brandished this image as a match play assassin, but that's 5-6 years ago now. I mean, he was not good in Paris and not good in the last President's Cup team either. So I think there's more complicating factors than just obviously Reed's hospital stay, this fall. But I still expected him to be on the team, and I think it was the right decision not to. But I was surprised he didn't make it.
What a wild world we live in, where he would have been at most the third most heckled guy in the U.S. team this year. I mean, that
by Sunday, you never know, but he'd start the week.
Things happen. Yeah. Well, yeah, especially there's been no ambiguity with bunkers and, at Whistling Straits in the past or anything like that. So we don't have to worry about any rulings working for or against Reed. But no. How about the Euro side? Any surprises there?
I mean, I guess Poulter had a better year than I realized. I mean, I was somewhat surprised to see him pop up, but then I kind of looked at the stands like, well, if not Poulter, who? And to me, it made the most sense. It feels like the Euros are kind of getting the band back together one more time. You got Westwood, Sergio, Poulter. I mean, that's a lot of experience of guys that have dominated this event, not just in a vice captain's role, but as playing captain. Of course, you got Graham McDowell's vice captain, Stenson's vice captain, but to have that core group of guys actually on the team and playing still for what could be their last cup, I think it's a powerful thing, and I think it was smart of them to make those picks.
Yeah, I don't think they were making this trip without Poulter and Sergio. I mean, they both playing well enough where all the narrative stuff works out, and Sergio's just a beast in this event. There's no way you keep him off if he's alive and playing well.
Yeah. Okay. So not surprised at all. So not too many surprises then. It's an experienced Euro squad. The U.S. has a big advantage in length. That's aside from Rory, of course, who can blast in Rahm, but up and down the roster, the U.S. has more big hitters. Does that matter?
I think the big advantage for me is the fact that the U.S. has an advantage in world ranking. It just shows that overall they should have the better squad on paper. I think to me that's why they're the favorite in this event more than anything, more so than length. But what you can do with length, obviously, is start to tailor a golf course to fit your team's strengths. But I think for me, the U.S. is the favorite on paper, mostly because they just top to bottom, 1 to 12, you'd say they have the better roster.
I think those things matter on Sunday in singles. I think those things matter less in the team events, especially alternate shot, which the U.S. absolutely sucks at. And I think that you got to figure out ways to pair guys. Like finding someone to play with Bryson in the alt shot is tough because most guys don't have those second shots that Bryson has. So you have to. It's just the length is great, but you've got to piece it together. And Europe just seems to do so much better with that. And those first 2 days, they just seem to always do well. And I think that. The length and the world ranking matters in singles when you're playing by yourself one-on-one, but I just don't think it matters that much on Friday and Saturday. I think there's just a lot that goes into those 2 days.
Right. One of the big tricky parts about gaming this event is not knowing the pairings ahead of time. We have some ideas. We have some guesses. We have we know JT and Jordan Spieth want to play together. They probably will, but will they play all 4 events? Will they play 2 events, 3 events? Who knows? I think that's one of the biggest challenges to approaching this whole event.
Yeah, and I think even more the pairings. What you said second is how many events or how many rounds guys are going to play. If you're going to play someone in bets or in DraftKings, you want them to play at least 4, and you obviously want to target the guys who are going to play 5. There's not going to be many of them. Like I don't think Stricker will have everybody sit a full day. So you've got everybody's going to play at least 3. So it's a matter of finding those guys who are going to play 4 and those couple guys who play 5. I mean, it's a huge advantage if you got guys that are playing more events. His DraftKings is just amassing points.
Yep. And let's talk about the system here with Matt, with DraftKings, because we usually use that as our basis here before we start going down to the players. It's different than every other week. It's a match play event. It's points are accrued for matches won or halved, holes won, lost or halved. It's a lot more difficult to try to kind of handicap this, I think.
Yeah, and you want guys. I mean, it's kind of like when you get football, when you get correlation with quarterback receiver. If you can, you want guys that are paired together because they win a match. That's just suddenly double all those points because essentially they're going to get the same thing because they're going to win the same holes, they're going to win the same match. If you can find guys that are put together and they win, I mean, you're rolling pretty well. Like when a quarterback throws a touchdown to a receiver.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say, I think going back to what you said though, Jeff, there's a few guys that you can look at and say, if they start hot, if they go out and win a match early, they're going to play 5. There's a few guys you could say that. I think JT Spieth is one of those pairings. I think Rahm and Rory on the Euro side, they're going 5 matches unless they just seem completely lost on Friday morning.
Right.
So I think those are kind of the cornerstone players you try to look at is who can go out early and just ride the wave, basically. And there are a few guys on each team I think that are tempting as like cornerstones for your DraftKings lineup.
And the ride the wave is so key because you want those second tier guys after the guys you mentioned. Those are the guys that if they do ride that wave could play 5. You got guys like DJ or Morikawa or Cantlay or Xander. Like if they start warm, those guys are going to play all 5 too. And you just one of those guys loses one, suddenly they're out. But those second tier guys who get hot is going to be the key to who wins this thing.
Okay, so looking at all that, let's look at the pricing. And I'm pulling up DraftKings for like just one of their events. You
want to explain the captain the roster real quick first because it changes the pricing.
It does. Can you explain it? Because
sure.
I think
essentially
I don't know. Can you?
Essentially, you have 6 roster spots, and everybody's the same price except for you have one captain spot. The captain spot gets 1.5 times his points for the week, and obviously his salary is 1.5 times his salary. So like someone like Rahm is 9,800 if in one of your other 5 spots, but he's 14.4. I can't do the math. 14.7, whatever it is. If you put him in the captain spot, so you need your captain spot. You get 1.5 points to win. Get 3.5, 4 points, that sort of thing. So you want to really pick the right guy in your captain spot, but obviously you're paying up for him because those guys that are lower. They don't multiply quite as much when you put them in the salary, but you want your captain spot guy to play every day and win 3 or 4 matches.
Yeah, that's right. So it's there's streaks for consecutive holes won. There's it's 3 points for a hole won. Holes halved are 0.75. Holes lost negative 0.75. Holes not played is plus is a plus because it means you won early. So say if you miss if you go 4 and 3, you get 4.8 points for not playing those last 3 holes as well. So there is that as well. Yep. So that it's kind of tricky. So let's Rahm's the most expensive golfer. You look at he's at 14.7. We know he's going to play, even if he barring an injury, he's going to play every single round.
Correct. He's in for 5 unless something very weird happens on Friday. I think Rahm is on the short list of guys you could say he's playing 5 matches, thereby he justifies that price. However, I would not pay it because, as we were alluding to, I think there's other guys that you could pencil in for 5. And to me, I think the participation is the key. And then maybe as you start to form your lineup, the first question you probably need to ask yourself is, who do you think is going to win this? Which team is going to win? And you want to have the guy. You want to have a winning side player in your captain spot. Because obviously, you're basically saying this is going to be the man of the match. To me, you start there. And I don't know if you want me to reveal that now or save it or build the suspense, but I have some thoughts on that too. But I think for roster construction, it starts with who's going to win this thing, U.S. or Europe.
Well, let's just go into it. Just don't tease us, Tito.
All right. Well, I think so all summer long, I convinced myself that I would not be swayed that Europe just always has the U.S. number in this event, and it doesn't really matter how it all looks on paper. They just always seem to have. They always just come together and play their best. Somehow the Europe team creates this atmosphere that allows that team to play their best, and U.S. more often than not just misfires in this event. And yet here we go as I am getting on the plane and looking at things again, and I'm talking myself back into the U.S. For one of the reasons I'm talking myself back into the U.S. is because of what happened the last time the Ryder Cup was in the U.S. I think they learned some things about how to set up a golf course to fit this team. Specifically, Hazeltine, it was set up for bombers, but it was also the pin positions were easy. If you recall, that place was a birdie fest. It was like the John Deere Classic setup. So if the U.S.'s strength is length and their weakness is putting, then what do? You put the pin in the middle of the green so anybody can make these putts. And that's what they did. I mean, there were like, if you go back, there's like, the best ball 62 or something. Things were just crazy with the amount of birdies, and it created a very fun scene because crowds exploding all over the place. Birdies, eagles are flying, and that's also good for the home team. So I think I'm back to leaning towards the U.S., and I am fully accepting that I might regret that on Sunday because like the brain has just trained me to say Europe now in these things, and you're usually right. But that's my 2-minute breakdown on what I see now.
Scott, what say you?
So this is one of my favorite sporting events that there is, and one that I get into probably more than anything else. And I unfortunately think Europe's going to win.
Yeah, tell me more.
I think it's just so many of these events. I mean, and I think the home course advantage is a big thing. I think that's a really good point. But I mean, we still barely won last time with everything set up that way. I think Europe is so solid. I think they're going to play. They play better in the group events on Friday and Saturday. I think we're going to have to. The U.S. The U.S. is going to have to come from behind on Sunday, and I think they'll get close. But I don't think it's quite there. I'm a little worried that some of our guys don't like each other, B are injured, C aren't playing great. I don't know what's up with Morikawa. He was horrible his last 3 tournaments. I don't know if he's healthy. If he is, great, but that's just a question mark. I don't know how healthy Brooks is. I don't know where Bryson's head is. I think he'll be fine, but there's just enough unknowns there that I think Europe's going to come in. I think they all like each other. I think they're all going to play well. I think the group events they're going to do really well again and squeak out. They'll lose the singles on Sunday, but still win.
Do we know that they all like each other, or just do a better job of hiding it?
They certainly act like they like each other on the course, which is kind of what matters.
Yeah.
I mean, you see clips of like they do stuff at dinner, and the Euro. Some of the Euro videos are really good, and there was one this year with Poulter and Hatton, and making fun of each other. It just seems. I mean, it seems like they each other. Obviously, I don't know, but you watch these events, you watch them hanging out together, and I feel like on Thursday night they're gonna all be having dinner and hanging out together, and our guys are just gonna be trying to figure out a way to leave and go hang out with their wives or their friends.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw Brooks's interview, which, by the way, he's getting slaughtered way too much for. I think he was answering a question, and I think he was just. We all get upset when golfers are automatons and just giving you the standard answer, or any athlete for that matter. He talked about how it's different from their routine. That's all there is to it.
But when you say, I'm not going to say it's a bad week, you're saying it's a bad week.
I guess. Like,
you don't say that unless you think it's kind of a bad week. I would have zero issue with Brooks. He was like, you know what? This is not my favorite thing. It's not for me. I'd rather have somebody else that really wants to play. I'd have no issue with him doing that. But, he obviously, once he starts playing, he'll get into it. But I don't know. I don't know. A huge probably said, I just didn't like, why say it? Like, why? I don't know. He just could have answered it better. But you're right. We get mad because everybody gives the no comment and cliched Bull Durham answers, and he doesn't, which is great a lot of times. But in an event like this, I think you just want a little more fire and excitement because it's an event that a lot of guys really would love to play in.
Yeah. As we were talking, I saw something on Twitter. Bryson DeChambeau hints at something fun coming with Brooks Koepka, a story by the AP. So
oh boy,
had a lot of conversations. So
this is becoming more of like a WWF storyline by the day. It's just
it is. Yeah. This is going to be the scripted hug it out moment on the screen. And
they said something on the tee or on the practice tee to each other today, but you can't tell what they said. And then Brooks kind of like walks away with no emotion, and Bryson laughs and like gets the crowd to cheer because they talk. So who knows? I mean, Bryson's having a little more fun with it right now, but who knows? It's hard to jump in Brooks.
Watch them pair up with each other and dominate. Would that be just a storyline? That would be amazing. But all right, let's look at so using your theory, Jeff, who are you building around?
So I think because I've now swung the other way after an entire summer of preparing to pick Europe to win this thing and load up on European players for this week, I think the surest bet for 5 matches right now on the U.S. side is Justin Thomas, because I think they're going to go out. I think Justin Thomas hits the first ball of this Ryder Cup Friday morning, paired with Spieth. It's just the money in the bank pairing that they have on the U.S. side. And I think he's got the best shot to play 5. And if you believe that the U.S. is going to go out and grab a lead, then he's your first guy. I think I would start there. But certainly I'm also tempted by Xander, although I don't know how he fits in with, like it looks like he's going to be in the Morikawa DJ pod, which I'm not exactly sure where either of those two guys are. I'd like to see him pair with Cantlay. Cantlay is tempting also, just
I was just going to
say,
say, we haven't brought up the PGA Tour Player of the Year.
We underestimated him all year on this podcast, so why not do it again?
Because he shouldn't have won it, that's why.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, but I think I think I start with JT in this build. If you believe the U.S. is the winning side, I think Justin Thomas is the surest bet for 5 matches, and his week would kick off right there Friday morning.
So I'm going a little different. I do think Europe wins, and I think in my captain spot, the way that I'm going to play is I want someone who I think is going to be really good, but someone who's not going to be one of the top 3 or 4 rostered players, who I think will be JT, Spieth, Rahm, and Rory. I'm going to go probably on my main team. I'll play some different versions, but on my main team, I'm going to go Victor Hovland in my captain spot. He's a little bit cheaper. I think I like the pod that he's kind of in with doing his press conferences stuff. He's with Rory, he's with Sergio, he's with Lee Westwood. I think those guys will play a lot, and I think if someone sits in that pod, it'll be 2 of the older guys. I think Victor's going to play a lot, and he's got a chance to play 5. Will play 4 for sure. Gained 8.1 shots and approach at the Tour Championship. They're playing really well coming in. I think he's going to be less rostered than those top 4 guys, and I think he's got a shot to be really good and play a lot.
And at 12.6, he's a lot more affordable than some of your other top options there. You there at 13.5, Rahm 14.7, JT 14.1. You can fit a lot of other guys in there a little bit easier.
That's the key. Is he lets me get some of those studs in at their regular prices, not their captain's prices. So you can play Victor with Rahm and JT and really build a nice squad there. So that's where I'm leaning at the moment.
I do like that strategy. I mean, it's very similar to what happened in Paris. No one really had Francesco Molinari marked as the future star, but it was like, well, there's a guy who's going to go out Friday morning. We'll see what happens. And he makes every putt, plays out of his mind, and just rides it for the full 3 days and becomes the man of the match. I think that's a good pick. I mean, that fits the profile of what happened last time.
And one key, and just a strategy key, is we will know the Friday morning pairings before the DraftKings lock is. So if you're going to have a captain or your team and you want some pairings, make sure you at least look at those. We'll know 8 pairings, 4 on each side. So make sure your guys playing in that first one. It's if you want someone to get hot and ride the wave, playing that first set of matches is really important. So you want to make sure you do at least look at those. That's the one set of information we will have as this thing starts.
Indeed. Before we start talking about the gaming aspect of things here, and some of our, before we do that, we got some sleepers. A quick note from our Blue Wire sponsors. All right, and now we're back. So you got your captain. Who are you building around with? Scott, we'll go with you first. Who are you building around Victor with?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll have a couple guys near the top. Probably Rahm. Just going to play a lot, and I think Europe does find a way to win. And then I'm going to look at who Victor's playing with on Friday morning. If he's playing with Rory, I might shift from Rory to Rahm, and kind of maybe, as Jeff said, maybe those are the 2 guys that get hot, kind of like Molinari and Fleetwood did last time. They never came out because they just kept winning. I do like Bryson at 8,000. I think he's going to actually play well this week. I think he loves this kind of event. You saw last time, even when he was sitting, he's like up in the stands with the fans and his gear and all that kind of stuff. So I think he will get into this. And then down below, there's 4 guys in the 6,000 and below that I do like, and I'm kind of going to piece around. I think Paul Casey is playing really well right now, on fire and approach the last few months. I really like how Daniel Berger's playing. I love Shane Lowry as the 3rd captain's pick for Euro. I think he's going to play. I think he'll end up playing 4 times, and he might get paired with Rahm, which would be really sweet. And then I like Scheffler too, 5,800 if I'm trying to get some other guys up top. I think he might pair with Bryson, so I might go with a Bryson Scheffler on the U.S. side, then play maybe 4 Euros on the other side.
Jeff, how are you building around JT?
So I got to get at least one more American in since I think they're going to win. I'm torn right now between Cantlay or Xander. I want to see them play together. I'm a little nervous about Morikawa's health. DJ, same. So I'll pick one of those. I'll flip a coin. Where are they priced right now? I was trying to pull that up. Cantlay, Xander. How are they? Are they similar?
Cantlay's 9,000. Xander's 8,600. And Spieth, who I assume you want to pair with JT, is 8,800.
I'm going to stay away from Spieth because his singles record is so lousy. I think that Thomas has the best chance for that kind of 5-0 week, just going off history.
But do you think they pair together the whole time?
Yeah, if it works Friday morning, I think so.
Then you got to go Spieth then, because that's 4 wins at least. Then if you think JT has a chance to go 5-0. right? Even if Spieth loses on Sunday.
I guess there's always a chance, that they move that pot around.
They could.
If JT plays really well and Spieth just has a bad morning, then it's possible Bryson or more likely Scheffler plugs in. Yeah. They're part of that pod. So I do like that Scheffler pick a lot, Scott, and I also like that Daniel Berger pick a lot. There's always rookies with fire. I think having rookies on it, people talk about what a disadvantage it is, and I just disagree. Sometimes, every once in a while, rookie they'll play once, they'll kind of flame out, and you'll see them again at Sunday singles. But I think Berger, he fits the profile. He was great at the President's Cup. I don't think this moment's too big for him. He's won this year. He's playing really the best golf of his life. I think Daniel Berger has a chance to be a star for the U.S. this week. And then on the European side, I'm with you again on Shane Lowry. I think another fits the profile of a rookie who is just ready for this moment. A major champion is probably going to pair with Rahm the way I'm looking at those pod setups. So you're getting whatever points Rahm's scoring, you're probably going to get, but at the Shane Lowry price tag. And I like that he's a little more under the radar for the fans. It's tempting to pick Sergio just because I've seen Sergio just destroy the U.S. at this event year after year.
Yep.
But Lowry has that chance to kind of he's not going to be the flashpoint of any controversy. The crowd is not after Shane Lowry, but Sergio, there's always a chance.
Hit the ball already, Sergio.
There's always a chance that this goes sideways for him. So I like Lowry a lot as part of a build for this week on the European side.
I think he thrives off the sideways.
He does in this event, but it's a risk you take. And I would probably, if he's filling out more than one lineup, I'd certainly have him in the second one you do. You can't ignore what he traditionally has done in his career in this event. He becomes this superhuman, as many European players have. He'd be on that list. And the guy is just hits a new gear.
All right. Fades. Who's one guy you will not be rostering on your lineups? Scott.
That's a really good question. It breaks my heart to say it, but I don't think I'm going to have Morikawa, who's probably my favorite player on tour outside of the Ricky Fowler group right now. But I just don't know where he's at right now. And the form was so bad last 2 weeks. I really hope he's healthy and playing well. But you talked about recent form being key in this event. And I hate how he played the last 2 tournaments. I don't know. I don't know where his health's at. I don't know where his game's at the moment.
Yep, exactly. I hear you. How about you, Jeff?
I'm going to fade Bryson and Brooks. I'm going to stay away from it. I don't know where it's going to go. Maybe it'll be fine. Maybe they both earn 4 points and they, pour champagne all over each other on the 18th green on Sunday. But I'm willing to take the chance that I think the odds are greater that does not happen and that maybe they're swallowed by this controversy and don't play their best. Also, Brooks, he's got a recent injury he's coming off of. So. Yeah. And Bryson has a way of bringing controversy upon himself, which you just don't need. The pressure is high enough without that. So, and I think I'm going to fade Rory as well on the European side. Same thing. Recent form not that strong. He can, he was last time it was in the U.S. He was at the center of Patrick Reed and that controversy, and he can be an antagonist, which can work in your favor, but I don't think it works in your favor if you're not absolutely on form. And I'm not convinced Rory is at the top of his game. He was on my mediocre fantasy team all year, and so I've been following the ebbs and flows of his season. And so I would fade Rory. I think there's just other players you can get at that price to fill out your team.
I'm probably fading DJ. Just had enough of him on my watch. It's an emotional decision. I get it. So your mileage may vary on that one there. Let's talk gaming here. I think you go straight to what are the odds US versus Europe to win? First of all, I think that's the main bet. What's your take on that one? Scott, you first.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like Europe as the underdog. I think they're like plus 140 or something right now. I just think I'm going on, the way that I think it works out and the way it's worked out many times. I'm looking right now. They're actually plus 210 right now on DraftKings. I think that's way too high because that's built in. That's built in with a tie. So the tie is 12-1. So they actually have to win. They can't tie to win that, but they also have to lift the trophy odds, which means if they tie, Europe wins that, and they're plus 160 there. But I would just go to win plus 190 or plus 210. I think that line's just too high.
Well, I agree. I don't think the U.S. is twice as likely as Europe to win this event, which is what the odds are implying there. So yeah. I know spent the first 20, 25 minutes of this saying how I think the U.S. is going to win, but not at those odds. I think this is absolutely a coin flip event. Not to say that one team couldn't win by 5 or 6 points. It happens before. I mean, the U.S. last time I was on U.S. soil won by a pretty comfortable margin, but I like Europe at those odds.
What other gaming angles do you guys see for this event?
I got about 9 million. How many do you want?
Give me your best 3.
So I'm going to go definitely more than 3. So I think that I talked about
more than
Hovland.
that. That's fine.
I think I like Hovland, so I'm going to bet him. His top point scorer. I like him as top rookie point scorer. He's 7-1 on that. He's overall 12-1 on point score. But there's so many guys in there. But top rookie point scorer. I like the combo of Hovland to score the most points and Europe to win. That's 35-1. I like that too. A couple other bets. I like Scheffler and Berger over 1.5 points won. That's they're both minus 125 on that line. I think that they're going to both play a good amount. I think they're going to both play really well too. And I like top captain's pick scorer, Shane Lowry plus 750. If he goes out day one and we see those pairings with Rahm, I'm going to bet that right away at plus 750. I think that among the captain's picks, I like him to really make a run, especially if he gets paired with Rahm.
Jeff, any other angles you see?
I love the Lowry angle a lot. I think Lowry and Berger are probably my 2 favorites. If you want to get value, right? Try to find the longer odds, but who just feels ready for the moment. It always feels there's going to be a rookie. There's always one rookie that just, gets 3, 4, 4.5 points. I think Lowry and Berger are my 2 favorite rookie picks off this, and I would bet them in any combination you could come up with.
I also like top English point scorer. I like Casey at plus 300 in that. I don't like the way Fleetwood's playing. I don't know how much Poulter's going to play. I don't love the way Fitzpatrick's playing, or Westwood. I don't think he'll play every round. So I just think that Casey plus 300 is a really good chance to win top English point scorer too.
That's nice. I like that. That's just a thinking man's angle there. Fleetwood got a little better towards the end.
He did.
As he was trying to make sure he got on the team. But that was interesting. Haddon's the guy that I can't explain his season. We kept on thinking he was a good value on DraftKings when we were going through it, and even in the betting side of things when you compare that to his world ranking. But he just always came up short towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I think he missed 3 of his last 4 cuts on the PGA Tour. It's like you said, it's hard to figure out where he's at because he was so good early on.
Yep. I know Jeff's got a flight to catch, and we got a lot and I know Scott's got a ton of things to do too. Any parting thoughts, Jeff?
Boy, as I'm sitting here, I'm almost thinking I should have just stuck with Europe the whole time. I keep going back and forth. I think it's a coin flip event. I can't wait to see it. I will stay with the U.S. at least until we hang up this podcast. But regardless, it's going to be a great week, and anybody who's able to get out there, it's going to be fun for all of us on site and fun to watch on TV as well. Can't wait.
Yeah, I agree. I love this event. I love that, the 3 days kind of compacted together. There's just so few groups on the course. You just see everything. You just see a lot of the shots, which I really like too. And if you're betting, I'm going a lot of Victor Hovland pops. I think it's going to be a Victor Hovland week.
All right, there you go. That's going to close this episode, and we're going to take a little time off for gaming golf. We sit out a lot of the silly season, the fall season, but we'll be back at you. I won't promise exactly when, but by January at the latest. We'll probably get an event in there maybe prior to the RotoWire Fantasy Golf auction for that matter. So we'll have at least one more version of that. But I want to thank everybody for listening to Gaming Golf throughout this golf season. Hopefully you enjoyed what we had to say and enjoy the Ryder Cup. Take care.